I'm CK. Today we've got another kit that I don't remember what it is. You probably know because you saw the title of the video. It's from YYSolder, Illuminated ... Educational Father's Day Gift. So we'll take a look at what's in it, see if we can learn anything from it, see how fun it is to put together, and I hope you enjoy the video. So let's see what is in this thing. Come on. Oh. Can't even cut cellophane open without tools or whatever this is. It's not really cellophane. I'm going to stick myself in the hand. What is going on with this? That's some really tough plastic film. This is spare component, cleaning sponge, solder absorbent tape, solder practice board. Watch out for burns. Well, that's nice. It's got some spare stuff in there, huh? What do we have here? This is a lucky kit. Looks like an aeroplane. Light up small plane. Thanks for your choice. We hope you have a happy experience. I do too. So, core function of the circuit design is to use a 555 timer and a 4017, which is a counter chip, to drive 7 LEDs for cyclic blinking so as to visualize the working principle of the 4017. So, good. It's a great explanation. The 555 timer starts putting out a pulse, which goes into the 4017, and then the 4017 counts them and puts out signals to each pin in a preset order, and each pin corresponds to lighting up an LED. So yeah, this is a great teaching tool, and that's a great summary of how to use this. Let's see if they've got a schematic. And they do have a schematic. Assembly instructions looks pretty good pictures. Now, I talk about this because 555s and 4017s are used in a lot of things. 555s are used in almost everything. So, this looks good. Looks like a good informative kit. Let's get a parts tray out and look at the actual stuff in the bag. If I can get the bag open without using my scissors. I cannot, as usual, so we will just cut it open. Am I zoomed in too close? Did you get to see that? Yeah, you probably did. I was probably too high. But again, I may be skipping to here because I wasn't in frame for the schematic, but voltage comes in here. There's the ground. Here's the resistors and capacitors, which are setting the rate for the 555 timer. The output from the 555 is going into the clock input on the 4017, and here are the output pins to the LEDs that will light at certain times when the count is right, or change as the thing is right. Here's power coming in and a switch to turn it on and off. VCC going to VCC here. And all the components. So this looks pretty good. And let me get this bag out of all the stuff that we're going to be assembling. They gave us 2 batteries, which is nice. 1220s. Then here we have the CD 4017 and the 555 timer chip. It's not really a timer chip, but it's what everybody calls it. And the 2 sockets for them. Then we've got our capacitor, which is going to be the one that's setting the rate on the 555. And the LEDs, and 2 battery holders, and another capacitor. I think actually this is the capacitor setting the timer rate. And then we'll take a look here at the circuit boards themselves. If I can get them out without breaking them. So we've got the fuselage, and we'll put the rest of the fuselage and the... Oh, I've got it upside down. Because I think we're going to have an LED on the tail. Yeah, we're going to have an LED on the tail. And what's going to happen is when we put this all together, when we're done, or along the way, come on! We're going to be soldering these pads together to get electricity up to that LED. And we have solder pads here too, but they don't seem to have any traces. They're just there to make a complete look of things. Now I got to get this back apart, and it's confusing me because it's in there very tightly, actually. There we go. Okay, so that's all the bits and pieces, and it's a very instructive kit. So I'll get the soldering iron heated up, and we'll put this fella together. Oh, I'm sorry, before I go away, yeah, they gave us this little extra bag. So it's got spare resistors, caps, and LEDs, and a proto board. Take this out so you can see what I'm talking about. I'll try to take it out. See a little proto perf board. Put your components in on this side, and then use solder to link things along to make circuit trails. And again, some spare parts in case the parts in the kit don't work, which is unlikely that the resistors won't work, but always a potential that the LEDs will fail. So that's a nice little lanyap that they threw in there. And now, let me get things set up so I can put this together. And we'll go in the order of the assembly instructions, because that seems just polite if they went to the trouble to do that. And we'll start by putting the chip sockets on. One for the 555, one for the 4017. And as you can see, hopefully, where's my pointy thing? For crying out loud, how did... It's hiding back here. As you can see, hopefully there's a little indent on one end of the sockets, and on the circuit board there's a little printed indent, and those match. That just tells you where the pin 1 is going to be on the chip, because the chip also has a notch, and this has a notch and a dot showing you where pin 1 is. Same with the 555 there. So I'm going to take these two chips, sockets, making sure the dot is in, or notch is in the right place, then put that little thing behind it to flip them over so they don't fall out. And now I'll solder those pins. I'll do one on each. I'll press down with these two fingers and do one pin on each, and one pin on this one. And I'm going to pick it up, take a look, make sure it's all flat, and it is. Now I can do all the rest of the pins. And that's the sockets. They also say to put the chips in, and I guess I will. I normally don't until I'm done soldering on a board, but in this case we're going to run at the tiny risk of it causing a problem because it really is an infinitesimal risk. So line that all up, shove that one in, that's the 555, make sure it's all good. Seems to be. There we go, now it clicked in solidly. All the pins are in, no pins are bent. And I'm bending the pins inward a little bit against the side of my workbench so they line up. Now we'll put this one in. And that's in. All pins are in, no pins are bent. Good. Now we're going to put the small cap here. This is, what is this? This is a 103, so 10 nano. I guess, isn't it? Just double checking myself. 10 p. Oh. Yeah. That goes in there. And now we're going to put the resistors in. And we've got a 5K, a 1K, 5.1K, a 1K, and a 10K. And this will be the 5. And this will be the 10. And this will be the 1. And that's only because I can read resistor bands. But I can read resistor bands because I learned electronics in the 60s before we had fancy calculators and really inexpensive digital multimeters. So for you, you should not have to read resistor bands. Again, this is 5.1 because it's green, brown, black, brown. And as you can see, that's 5.0, so it's within tolerance because it's brown tolerance. And this one is the 10K because it starts with a brown, which is 1, and then it's got the red stripe and 2 black stripes. So we will go ahead and put all these resistors on. So yeah, you can memorize resistor bands if you want, but in this day and age, there's no reason to clutter your mind with that. Now, what I find is interesting. I think that little capacitor is a decoupling cap for that chip, but I'm not actually certain because we do not have a decoupling cap on the timer, which is unusual. No way. Oh, that's too bad. On this next instruction, it says soldering the electrolytic caps, but it uses the same picture as they used for putting the ICs in. That's too bad. Everything was wonderful, and then that happened. So the cap goes here, and as you can see, it's a 10 microfarad, and the positive long end is this one, and that will go in the unshaded area, and the shaded area takes the shorter lead. It also takes the lead that has, or also takes the side that has this stripe with minus symbols on it. That's showing you, even if the pins have already been, or leads have already been cut, you can still see which side is the negative side. So I'm going to solder all the stuff I've got here, because I'm going to need the space without leads lying all around here in a minute or two. Another thing I like about this, oh, my battery on my camera is going to go dead in a second. Gosh darn it. Is if you look, the traces are very easy to follow. So you can match what's on the schematic to the traces on the board pretty easily. And that's very instructive as you're learning all this stuff. And I got to cycle the cameras because, again, this battery is almost dead. And we're back with a new battery. So now we're going to put the toggle switch on, the on-off switch. And it'll go right here. And as you can tell, I can't really hold it with anything. I can't lay it flat on the board, I mean on the solder pad, and have it supported, so I will get this little piece of foam. Just put it on like that. And now I'm going to solder one of the support legs and pick it up and see if it's flat. It's flat, but it's a little cattywampus. Huh. I'm going to make it not cattywampus, so I'm going to reheat that and move it. Oops. There we go. Now it's all even. Now I'll do the rest of the pins on that little guy. Making sure nothing is bridged, and it's not, and it will work fine. Click, click. Now we'll put the battery holders on, and these, you slide the batteries in from one side, and there's a little tab to keep the batteries from sliding out, which means you want to make sure the tab, there's a slight mark on the circuit board to tell you, but you want to make sure the pad's that way, because if you put it the other way, you can't slide a battery in. And that would make you sad, and you'd say, golly, I got to take it back off. So same drill here. I'm going to get my little piece of foam. There's a blemish on the board. That's interesting. I'm going to get my little piece of foam, support the battery holder with it. I probably could have used two pieces of foam. I can use two pieces of foam for this because this is pretty thin. There we go. That'll be good. Just press on the circuit board with one finger. Is that flat? Yes, it is. Checking flatness is a very common thing. You want to make sure things are flat to the board, particularly these battery holders, or else the battery won't be in snugly enough to make contact. So we'll do the other one. So the battery holders are in place. Now we're going to do all the LEDs. And it says which colors need to go where. It wouldn't be terrible if you didn't get them in the right color order, but we may as well do the way they say. And as you can see on the board, there are plus signs by the positive, because LEDs are polarized, of course. And LED, there are three ways to check, which is the positive lead. Long lead is positive, short lead is negative. That's one way. The negative side also has a flat spot on the LED. And also, if you look, it would probably work better with a different color. It's not blending into my solder pad color. If you look through the LED, and I'm not going to be able to get a good picture of that, the negative side has a large piece of metal. The positive side, anode side, has a small piece of metal. Just three different ways to figure out how your LEDs go on. So I'm gonna, oh, I see. We're going to take our LEDs, I'm going to put a red one on the outboard position, and then we're going to bend them forward. So they're kind of like we're streamlining them through the sky. This rarely works. So I'm going to put them all on. Now I'll solder these right now. Our wing lights. Now for these vertical ones on the tail, I'm going to make sure they're fully down, so I only soldered one side. I'm going to push on the LED and reheat that solder joint. You might have seen it move a little bit as it settled flat on the board, and that one was already pretty flat. But that's a handy dandy tip for making sure your LEDs are flat. Now we're going to take our red LED for the tail, and it goes, the negative side is on this side and the positive side is on this side, and I'm not going to do it the same way as we did the last LEDs. I'm going to puddle a little bit of solder on this pad, and then I'm going to puddle a little solder on this pad. Actually, I'm not going to do, I'm only going to do the one. So now I'm going to slide that LED down, like so, with the short leg on this side by that positive pad. And then I'm going to reheat that solder. Actually, this is not. Going to reheat that solder and get the LED in it, like so. Not quite straight up and down, so I'll adjust a little bit. Good. And now I'll just do regular soldering on the other side. Now I'll clean up some of the leads. Okay, so we've got all that soldering done. Now we're going to put the body pieces together. And again, there's a trace from the 4017 going down here to these LEDs, and then to this pin or this flat part, which is going up to the tail section, and this one is just picking up ground. So I'm going to have to put solder on all those for two reasons. One, for conductivity, but also two, aesthetically. And we'll do, these don't have any electrical connections on this end, but it's just for stability. And that's that. So there are all the solder connections done. Everything's looking good. Now we're going to take our batteries out of their little battery pouches. Double checking the time on my cameras. That's good. And we will slide them in. Positive, the side with the big side with the positive symbol, the plus sign, goes up. Okay, so let me turn my overhead light off. Now we'll turn it on. Up, flashy, flashy. lights are flashing sequentially. And you can look at the circuit board to see, schematic, to see which pin is firing off and controlling which light in which sequence. And obviously changing the values of the resistors over here and the capacitor can change the rate. Let me see what I got here. I may be able to do this just real quick. This is what do we got here? I'm thinking out loud now. So we've got the 5K. If I make that a 10K, did he give me... No, see, he didn't give me the ones I wanted. Bless his heart, in the spares bag. So let me take a 10K. I'm going to take this 10K resistor, and I'm going to kind of go in here on this 5K resistor and put this in parallel with it, if I can. I'm not getting what I want there. Put it over here. Well, so that's what it does. Flashes. Again, we've got the good schematic and good instructions. It's got little holes so you can hang it up if you want. Fly around your room. And an overall good little kit. Again, the instructions are very good except that one picture that is out of sequence and incorrect, but hopefully that doesn't confuse too many folks putting this together. And I hope you enjoyed the video.